Hello and welcome to this week's MMA Mental Podcast. I am Ray and I'm joined by my good friend Jay. You okay, Jay?
Yep, I'm all good, thanks. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm excited for today's episode. We've got some guests lined up, but before we get on to the guests, I think the biggest events this weekend was obviously Bellator and the Ultimate Fighter. Did you watch the Ultimate Fighter of the weekend?
I was able to catch it, yeah, as well as Bellator.
Yeah, and me as well. We'll talk about Ultimate Fighter briefly first. And what did you think to the first? Well, say the first episode. It was episode 2, but obviously it was the first episode of them in the house of the new format.
We're joined now with the current BAMMA Middleweight Champion, Tom Kong Watson. How are you, Tom?
Yeah, I'm real good. Just did a last-minute workout for BAMMA, probably pretty much done now, so feeling good, feeling strong.
And we wish you all the best, of course. How's training gone for you?
Yeah, training's gone pretty well. I mean, obviously, most fighters know, every training camp there are a few problems, a few successes. So, I've had about 8 weeks. So I feel I've covered, a lot in that 8 weeks. So Saturday's, the time where I get to go out there and perform. So.
Are you looking forward to it?
Just looking forward to being able to compete again. Obviously last year I had 3 surgeries and. It was a difficult year for me, so just being out of the fact that I'm able to go and compete again is pretty exciting for me. So
I'm glad. Well, yeah, I was there watching you fight at BAMMA. What was it, BAMMA 7?
BAMMA 6.
BAMMA 6, that was it.
Yeah.
I was there at Wembley cheering you on, enjoying the show. You walked into that fight. What surprised me is an underdog. I don't know how that came across to you, but did you find yourself well prepared for Ninja?
Yeah, pretty well prepared. I mean, I think most fights, it's not just the preparation you do for that fight; it's the preparation you've done, in the years before. So, the Ninja fight, obviously, I've prepared for fights, really over the last 10 years. So, although Ninja was a bigger name, I've been fighting a similar amount of time, just not in MMA,
Yeah, I get you. Because, of course, he tried to take you down some stage into the third round, and you really showed off some takedown defense as well. Has training at Greg Jackson improved your wrestling as much as people expect from Greg Jackson?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, you're just being based in America. Obviously, you've got a lot more of the college wrestlers and a lot more. I mean, there's a guy at Jackson's right now from Russia that's probably going to be in the UFC soon. That's probably one of the best wrestlers there. So there's just a lot more guys to train with, and I just think it takes a long time to learn anything, in the sport. So obviously I'm still working my wrestling now, and just hope I can keep improving it. So.
Oh, well, yeah, great. Who are you currently training with?
I did most of this camp at Jackson's. I went down towards Mexico for 3 or 4 days and did some boxing. Obviously, because Marshall's pretty good boxer. So, but most of the guys people know, obviously John Jones, Carlos Condit, Cowboy, just a bunch of guys. But obviously at Jackson's, there's a lot of guys people don't know. I mean, Clint Roberts, Willie Parks is a 2-time national champ. There's numerous guys there, in the morning practice there's maybe 20 guys and 10 guys are outside the UFC, but they're not far away, I don't think so.
Fair enough. No, because you mentioned quite a lot of names there, like Carlos Condit and John Jones. Are you friends with them all? I'm guessing you are.
Yeah, I'm pretty well with them. I mean, I'm friends with a lot of guys there. I mean, obviously I'm pretty good friends still with Rashad, so there's a lot of guys there. I mean, Keith Jardine. I've been there sort of 5 or 6 years now, so a lot of the guys there get on pretty good relationship with Brian Stan. So there's a lot of guys there, that are pretty good friends with. So.
Ray, have you got a question?
Yeah, just you talking about the UFC. Are we likely to see you in the UFC anytime soon?
Well, I don't know. I heard they've got a show in England in September, so let's see if I can win this fight on Saturday, and let's hope so. I mean, for me, the UFC is where all the best fighters in my division are. That's where arguably most people make a career and make a living from the sport. So obviously that's where I feel I need to fight right now. So
have the UFC ever approached you before or not?
Yeah, I spoke to them a few times before. Going back over a couple of years through the Artwork Fighter shows and a long time ago when they first came to England. it depends on the deal and the timing, and obviously, whatever's right at the time.
So are you thinking that maybe the Liverpool card in September, is that the card you're referring to?
Yeah, that's the card I heard. But I feel it's pointless to talk about things like that because I'll fight on Saturday, and
yeah, of course, yeah.
Until I win those fights, I can't really, if I don't win that fight, then it's not me. That's not going to be happening. So.
No.
Of course.
So far, out of the fights that you've had so far, which do you feel has been your most impressive victory?
Me personally I was pretty happy with the Horwich fight because I couldn't see for the last 4 rounds, and after the fight I had a bad I was vomiting bad for 2 or 3 hours, taking a hospital, and just looking back on it, the fact I was able to kind of fight, not really know what was going on for about 20 minutes against a real tough guy that's notorious to put away is I feel pretty confident about that. So.
Hey James, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. I'm good.
We're joined by by James Doolan with a professional record of 16-7, who currently holds a draw over the kind of hot man at the moment, Vaughan Lee. So I guess we'll jump straight into that. You sent us a tweet about the Vaughan Lee fight, and so how did you see it go? How did you describe it in your own words?
I thought Vaughan done really well, obviously. The fight kind of just got started. I'm trying to remember back to the fight just really got started. Vaughan had an attempted takedown, which I kind of got back up, and then I took him down against the fence with a high crotch, and was in his guard. I cleared all the attachments in his guard, which is something I've been kind of working on doing, and I can remember him up kicking me. First he up kicked me in the chest, and then I dropped my level down, so I was on my knees basically, which is a grounded position. And the next thing I remember is being backstage after the fight. I've seen the fight back. I know they came up, kicked me square on the chin. I fell over like I'd been shot through the head. And then there was a bit of commotion at cage side where my coaches were kind of wanting me out of the fight. They were telling me to stay down and stuff, and the ref asked me if I wanted to continue, and I basically said aye. And the fight went on from there, basically. After the fight was a draw, so the first round was scored 10-8 to me, with Vaughan getting docked for point, and the next 2 rounds I was getting out on my feet and just basically fighting on instinct. Not defending takedowns well, but kind of striking not too bad, and throwing up submission attempts, whatever, from my back, staying active on the bottom. That was basically it. So the fight never really panned out how I wanted it, obviously, but it's kind of one of those things, I guess. I know for a fact Vaughan would never intentionally have up-kicked me in any kind of malice way or whatever. It's more accidental or heat of the moment, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you think you should have fought on, or do you think you should have stopped the fight?
Looking back, I probably should have stopped, because my level and kind of abilities is, if you watch the fight online or whatever, it's kind of night and day before the kick and then after the kick. I look like a totally, completely different fighter. So ideally, thinking of my career and stuff, I should have maybe stopped. But at the same time, if somebody asks me if I want to keep fighting, I'm probably going to say yeah most of the time.
Would you give him a rematch if you had the chance to?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's obviously going to be harder for me to get a rematch with him now, since he's kind of went on to massive things with the UFC and stuff. But if he hadn't signed for the UFC, it would have definitely happened. It was actually rescheduled at one point, and I went and had another fight and busted my hand, so I had to pull out the scheduled rematch. So it was on the cards anyway before obviously Vaughan signed with the UFC.
Okay. Did you? I'm guessing you got to see the Vaughan win over Kid Yamamoto. Did you?
Yes. It's cool.
Because the bantamweight division, not just in the UFC but in the UK, is very kind of small. So it must have been, looking back on it now, it must have been quite a big fight for you.
Yeah. I know Ken Vaughan was one of the better guys, even at featherweight before he dropped down and stuff. So it was always going to be a big fight, tough fight and stuff.